All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome to the Royal News Network, a Saturday morning live stream. I took a little bit of a pause, so hopefully there's not a big delay. But guys, it has been a week. I was thinking this week would be slow and I could do other things, but no, that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all because Meghan Markle decided to not only go back on Instagram, but launch the trailer for her new series, With Love, Meghan. I still can't get over how awful that title is, but I did want to share with you guys something real quick because I am elevating, guys, my hot chocolate experience today. Why? Because we got mint, because everything's elevated with mint. So, I don't know. Take a couple leaves, put it in my hot cocoa. Oh my gosh, guys, I have elevated my hot cocoa with mint. Who knew, right? Who knew? Yes. Okay. Anyway, so thank you guys so much for joining me this morning. We do have a new member, Lo Lala, 1958, has become a YouTube member. Why, thank you so much, Lo Lala. I hope you really enjoy being part of our little community here. And yeah, this has been such a wild, wild ride. And I was like going to this week, I was going to go see a movie. I was going to sit on my couch and work on my cross stitch. I did that a smidge. But of course, again, Meghan's whole launch completely and utterly derailed that. And it is, this is going to be a gem. This is going to be content gold for weeks. Because we'll probably get maybe another trailer, maybe some more promo from Meghan on her Instagram. I certainly hope so, just from a business perspective. If you're going to sneak and launch Instagram, you need to do it like full out, and she needs to do more. But we shall see how it all goes for sure. But guys, good morning. I hope you guys had a fantastic week and New Year. So let's get into the first holy live stream for everyone this year. We also have Diana, who became a YouTube member. Thank you so much, Diana. I hope you guys are having I hope you're having a fantastic Saturday because it is a very exciting time because we will get more royal news because it's been a bit slow in royal land, you could say, because generally this time of year, people are still on vacation. They're sort of getting back to work. The kids are still out of school. So generally you don't get a ton of royal news this week. But of course, Meghan utterly just derailed it. We also have the very sad news that William and Harry's former nanny, her stepson, was one of those who was killed in New Orleans and in that terrible attack. So that is very sad. Prince William and Catherine have expressed their condolences. I've seen that in some comments here. I'll read that real quick here because it's always good to start off with, real things happen. And it's very sad to see that be experienced by anyone. And it's always so startling. So King Charles has reached out to the family, and Kate Mancy from the Times of London has said, William has said, Catherine and I have been shocked and saddened by the tragic death of Ed Pettifer. Our hearts and prayers remain with the Pettifer family and all those innocent people who have been tragically impacted by this horrible attack. And again, I did a video last night talking about how Meghan can't totally, realize the timing of the show, but it makes the timing look absolutely worse. It makes the timing of her show look infinitely worse. That the nanny for Harry, one of the people, I think she's maybe even the godchild of Archie or whatever, that now Meghan has launched her series in the midst of that tragedy, that has now a personal connection to them, makes her look infinitely worse. So Lisa Schroeder, who has been a member for 15 months. I don't know why it highlights certain comments this way from members. So I know some people probably think, why is my member comment not? I'm not sure. But Lisa says, good morning from very cold, freezing Iowa. When are Harry and Meghan ever going to realize they are not going to outshine Catherine and William? Probably never. They live in a deluded fantasy of their own making. We see this even with the comment from Abigail Spencer on Meghan, which I read in my video last night, where it was just so sweetly syrupy, ridiculous. I'm like, I can't even take you seriously. You're not even speaking English. I don't even know how to read what you're saying because it's so strange and bizarre and so many things. I'm like, what the heck is this? I don't understand. So I think that's particularly crazy. And it's not the spare can have a pretty good profile, but the reality is when it comes to the royal space, if you want to be the star, don't marry the stinking spare. You will never be the star when you marry the spare. You will always be compared to the people who are higher up than you, and you're going to be supplanted by people who are younger than you. That's like the whole stinking royal system. It works that way in every single family. Every single family works that way. So it's like, what did they think? What were they thinking? I don't know. I don't know. Sorry, guys, still coughing a bit. We'll see how well this live stream goes. So we got Toscada here, women's nutter than a leaf nut loaf, straight jacket and padded cell. That would be Smiles, the queen of flops. Yeah. And what I find particularly fascinating is that so many people who don't normally comment on this stuff are commenting on this. And I think it goes to show that this is really rubbing people the wrong way. It's really rubbing people the wrong way. It's something where they're, even if I like somebody mentioned it on X or whatever, like they're not even sure why, but it just doesn't work. They're like, I can't even pinpoint why, but I just see it and it just feels off to me. And I can totally understand that. I feel like the timing is bad in terms of the economy and what's going on in the world. I feel like the angle of this show is bad because it looks very much like, look at me, look how wealthy I am. And for most people, that's not something they particularly want to see, is somebody flaunting their wealth like that if they're having difficulty putting food on the table. Now, there is, of course, an avenue always where somebody's like, lifestyles of the rich and famous, as my mom said, that they just want to watch and sort of like live vicariously through somebody. But I feel like Harry and Meghan, or at least Meghan in this series, is going to try to be earnest with it, which won't work. Like you almost have to lean into the absurdity of your lifestyle, like the Kardashians, in order to sort of make that thing work. And even the Kardashian thing isn't working as well anymore. Their series definitely is not as popular as it used to be. They've definitely taken a hit. So I feel like Meghan's show is just so off the reservation. And honestly, I look at this stuff and, look at the promo of her and Mindy Kaling in this like overly decorated gazebo thing and going, I don't think anybody could do that. Like, who has the money to waste on that? I mean, even getting a balloon arch is a couple $100 or even several $100s or something ridiculous. Because my mom was looking at one not too long ago. So it's like, it's not cheap. So what are they doing? I don't know. We have Jur Italiamo. Probably pronouncing that wrong. I'm so sorry. I'm really terrible with pronunciations. And Rebecca says, you did the right thing by getting rid of Netflix, and Brittany will watch the show and gives us play-by-play so we don't have to. Yes. Yes, I will 100% give you all a play-by-play of the series, and we may go episode by episode. I think for members, we may do some sort of watch party type of thing. I've seen other channels do that, and you kind of like press play at the same time, watch it, or you can just watch me react to it, because I can have some kind of like moments. I think I actually did scream at my iPad because I was in Amsterdam watching Polo, because I was like, well, I should review this. I got time. And I was just looking at that going, and I think I was trying to upload a video or something and it was taking forever, or I had to like re-upload it multiple times. That was for Polo. And I was just like, they got to this point talking about how great this player was. And I'm like, I know that. You've told me it 12 times. So you get to see me maybe react a little bit like that in the series. So we have Diane as well, gifted one Royal News Network membership. Why, thank you so much, Diane. I hope somebody really will enjoy that, especially watch party. Should be fun. Should be fun. So religion is something says women in Europe are being attacked by illegal immigrants. Too democratic to say this and stand up for women. I guess you're talking about Meghan, maybe? I'm not sure. When it comes, though, to royals, I will say royals have to not get too political. And yes, some aspects of this are not political, but some are. In terms of the immigration policy, that is determined by the government, not the royal families. And because you have this going on in multiple European countries, and so they can't really control that. So Gemstone Girl says, hello, everyone from Bath. We have Bobby says, hi, all, first live chat of 2025. Yes. M. Matthew says, good morning, R&M friends from snowy, freezing mid-Michigan. Not watching her cooking show. Jennifer Gardner does a hilarious show from her own kitchen with her kids harassing her, and that's a far better watch. Yes. Like, I would watch Jennifer Garner infinitely more than Meghan, because Jennifer Garner seems real. And I'm sure she's getting sponsorships because I did notice one post. She was probably getting sponsored by KitchenAid, although she didn't put ad in the comments. So I think she's just more like a partner or something. I'm not sure. But anyways, it's like, she's not totally doing this for the money. She's simply doing it because she likes to do it. And it comes across. It comes across. And so, and it's like she's in her sweats. She just came out of the shower. Like she's in her glasses. She's in her PJs. Like she's so natural that I feel like it really works. Diana, thank you so much for the tip. Who is the audience? Polo at least was trying to be like F1 and Formula One and football shows, but there are any successful similar cooking shows. Also, how can Meghan teach us to garden if the garden does not belong to her? A great point. And I 100% agree. I made this comparison as well in my video last night. I don't know who the audience is for this, except for maybe sycophantic Meghan fans. Other than that, I don't know who this would appeal to. People who are wealthy have other people to do the things she's doing. So they're not gonna like it looks like upscale luxury and maybe trying to appeal to everyone, but I don't know how. But then we're also gonna have conversations and she's gonna do I almost feel like it's doing too much. And I'm sorry, but the idea of Meghan inviting us into her home, and I was like, well, she doesn't invite her in-laws into her home. So we all know she's not even filming at her home. So we all know she really won't invite us into her home. So it's a lie. The entire premise they're selling this as comes across as a complete and utter lie, in my opinion. We know, for example, that Meghan shows little love to her family, her in-laws, some of her friends, her employees. So the idea of with love from Meghan is it's something that doesn't compute. It's something that doesn't compute. So if I had an idea for something that was sort of maybe a lifestyle thing that connected to real stuff, there's actually a name I have, and I actually have an Instagram handle for it. And I think it's even on Twitter as well. But maybe I need to grab YouTube because maybe if I see it, somebody else will grab it before I do. But it connects back to this channel because I like Royal Fashion News, Royal News Network. They all kind of connect. And so there is a premise here. Royal Fashion News. It's I do fashion, but I also do news related to royal fashion. So it's one of those things where I'm what is she who is she trying to appeal to? And that's a huge thing. You have to think about your audience. I definitely thought about my audience when I created my channel because I'm okay, who do I want this audience to be? I mean, essentially, I wanted my audience to be me because I figured me, other people would want maybe some more in-depth talk about the royals overall rather than some more reactionary stuff. Because I think there's enough space for sort of everyone, and everyone has their own strengths to bring to the table. And so I wanted to do stuff that I wasn't seeing. And so I created my main channel and then the fashion channel because I was I kind of realized after a while, oh, not all the fashion stuff will appeal to people who want the Harry and Meghan drama. Not all the Harry and Meghan drama will appeal to the fashion people. And so you almost have to divvy up your audiences based on interests and stuff. But in polo, I could see somebody who's interested in sports and interested in polo. I see the pitch. I don't see what the pitch for this series is, and it's not clear. And this has been a consistent problem for them. I have no clue why a lot of things exist for Harry and Meghan. And if you're trying to get people to watch and people to be entertained, and you can't tell them why X, Y, and Z exists, then you're just not going to have your audience is going to be cut in half because of that. Because you need to let people know why something exists. Why does American Riviera Orchard exist? Meghan still hasn't told us. She hasn't told us why she named it this. She hasn't told us why it existed. Why what segment of the market that she feels like she fills. That's sort of critical. That's something anybody in any business should do. So for example, in my town, it's rather small. We just had a new dog grooming place open, which was great because it's we needed a dog grooming place. And so they fit a need in the community because usually I would have to go 30 minutes to get Pippa groomed. And now I can just go 5 minutes. And so that is a huge boon to the community. You have an automatic built-in base because people were driving out. Now they can go in town. And so you have there was a need for in the community and in the market. But if there were 12 dog grooming places in a small town, you probably wouldn't do very well because there's already 12, unless everybody's booked out and they need more. Again, just one of those things to think about in opening any business. If you're in a town and there's 15 floral places and there's 1,500 people, probably not a good idea to open a floral place. Just saying. All right, we got Lizzie B. Thank you so much for the tip as well. The show mentions everyone is invited. Hopefully, she can extend the invitation to her dad, who has had 2 heart attacks, has never met Harry or the kids, and hasn't seen her in years. Yes, that's why the premise of this show doesn't work. She says she's inviting people, but we all know she doesn't invite certain people. She's cut certain people out of her life. And yes, there are times, and I understand that this is a reality for some people, that there is a need to cut people out of your life. And I will say as well, maybe Thomas hasn't done himself much favors by going to the press. Just saying. But when it comes to the reason why Meghan cut him out, it was over him arranging a paparazzi shoot, something that she herself has done numerous times. So it's like you're a hypocrite, number one, for cutting him out for that reason. But number two, that he had never met Harry before. She had not made any efforts to get him to meet Harry or like fly him somewhere. Like she had the money to do that. I think she was very particular. I don't think she wanted her dad or any member of her family except for her mom to meet Harry not because she was worried about them talking to the press. It was more that I think she was always so concerned that they wouldn't go with the narrative that she told Harry about her life beforehand, and they would contradict her, and that was a problem for her. That was the real problem. So, anyways, so we got Aram Scout. Good morning from Chile, Mexico. Kiki says, hello, RNM family. Brittany and Miss Pippa. Happy New Year to this first live of 2025. Can't wait for your inspiring nuggets. Be love from me, Montague, and Tallulah. Well, good morning as well. This didn't end up getting quite as warm because I had to run it. I had my hot chocolate machine, which I do need to tell you guys what it is. It's a Hotel Chocolat. Need to add it. But anyways, it didn't work as well this morning with my batch, so I kind of had to come up here. And sorry, like the sun is moving, so you're getting interesting. I tried to close my blinds a little bit, but it got dark there for a second. We got Mama Bear, hello from Ireland. We got Olinda. And we got Olinda. Hopefully in 2025, you'll see much more of the Princess of Wales and less of the Duchess of Selfishness and Bad Looks. Yes, hopefully we'll see more of Catherine for sure. It sounds like they're working on trips and stuff. Cannot wait. That's going to be so much better. And then we also have the other royals. We have Mary, we have Matilda, we have Maxima. And so we should be seeing a lot of other royals. And Matthew says, I confess that watching all the review vids of Meghan Markle's trailer has been very entertaining. My favorite for sheer ridiculousness is avid gardeners dancing on the beach a la Meghan. Yeah, and I saw there's she wrote the book. What is her name? Elizabeth Holmes. She mimicked the 2025 and like she did it in all good intention because she is, she was the one who did the Town and Country article on Meghan in September. So she's kind of in the know. And she did a 2025 in the snow. And I'm like, oh, don't be that lame. Don't be that lame. Wendy said, good morning. We got water as well. We got Mama Bear. We all be good cooks with amazing chefs doing it for sure. I'm so embarrassed for her. I mean, you guys have read the comments on the official trailer. Holy smokes. Yes. And I know that Netflix is aware of that. And you can't hide it. It was kind of funny because I had this person who is a Meghan stan and they're not super annoying. So I let them hang out on my account. And they were like complaining about like the dislike ratio, which we should check this morning, seeing what it looks like. And they were like, oh, it's just a way to hate on Meghan. I'm like, no, it's called research. It's a way to see what the audience is telling you because the audience will tell you things. And it's sometimes the dislike ratio is the only way to let somebody know how much you dislike them, if that makes sense. So, and I think it's lame that YouTube took away the option to see it because if the down arrow still exists, then you should be able to see what the result is. You have to get something called a Chrome extension. If you don't know what that is, you have to download it onto your computer in order to see it. I find it helpful because it actually tells me something that just seeing the like ratio won't tell me. So here we go, guys. It is morning. So we got right now 67,000 likes to and almost 67,000 likes and 9,100. Sorry, 9,100 likes to 66,000 dislikes. Gosh, I'm slow this morning. We're almost to 67,000. So sorry, but yeah, this is the latest for Meghan. And again, you can look at this yourself. It's called a Chrome extension, and it just allows you to see this. It's just kind of an interesting metric because again, if you could just see the like ratio, I mean, the video almost is closing in on a million views. So you almost have 900,000. So only 1% of people who have watched the trailer have liked it. That's another interesting thing. So like 1% of people, because it's not even 10%, because 10% would be 90,000. So this is 1% of people who have watched the trailer liked it. I mean, without the dislike, that gives you a little bit of an indication, but anyways. Wendy says, how many different royal jewels has Mary taken out of hiding? So, not too many, because the emerald is part of the crown jewels, and so it is on display all the time. So she can use it, but she can't take it out of the country. When it comes to the bandeau, that definitely is new. And so I'm hoping she does that more. Unfortunately, because of decisions Queen Ingrid has made, like the Danish collection got really broken up. And so it's just not as big as it was, which is just an absolute shame in my opinion. Water says, finally made it back. Been a rough end of 2024 for me. I'm so sorry. Hopefully it gets better. Sylvia says, I can say one good thing about the trailer. She wasn't wearing a ball gown for her ARO trailer. So true. So true. I don't even know where ARO is. I need to do a video on that too. I have no clue what's going on with that. Like, is it really dead or is she ever going to stop? Like, I don't know. Because it doesn't seem like there's a trademark for With Love Meghan. I haven't seen a trademark for that yet. We got Mama Bear says, Happy New Year. Water says, I will never understand why Mimi keeps wearing boring colors when she complained that she could never wear colors as a royal because they wouldn't let her. Yeah, which is obviously, again, a total lie. She can't get away from lying. And over time, that does become something that's kind of like, it just means that anytime you say something serious, like the audience believes you get less and less. Cause I was talking to my mom last night. I was thinking about, her whole miscarriage story. And it's like, you lied about when you went into labor, you lied about when you gave birth. And so I'm like, how am I, as an audience member, you have sowed the seeds of distrust. And so it's like you hear a story like that and it's tragic and it probably happened, but do I totally believe you either? No, not really. So, and that's something she herself has done. Meghan has done this to herself. Nobody else. Nobody told her to lie about when she went into labor. That was a dumb idea. And they made the press look like fools in the UK, and the press were not happy about that. And so you sowed the seeds of division, you sowed the seeds of toxicity yourself. Nobody told you to do these things. If Aram Scout, she probably wanted Stacy from Somerset, UK. We have Gina says, well, Netflix asked for this, give it to them. Yes. And Netflix definitely, I think, is just like, we need to get our pound of flesh. And I think royalty, I realize it's royal tea can sound like royalty. It's not the day. Royal and then TEA was talking about how that Netflix sort of pushed her to do it now because they didn't want to sit on it. And I think that's true because this is not the great time of year to drop stuff either, I feel like. BD Trend says, good morning from chilly California in my kitchen making coffee. Definitely not making flour ice cubes in the middle of winter. Yeah, that's the thing too. If her stuff, and granted, remember, she filmed this in the spring. It really should come out in the spring because if it comes out in the spring, you're hitting the correct season. They're doing this in the winter. Like it doesn't really work. So I'm like, what the heck? So it's very strange. Alice Ranson, thank you so much for the tip. Hi, Brittany. Thought for your fashion channel. Would you ever do a video on historic royal fashion? How does changed and been used over the years? Oh gosh, if I get enough time, yes, I would love to do that. I would love to do those kind of things. I just don't. I always feel like the fashion channel gets sometimes put on the back burner because, like, I wanted guys this week. The thought is that it would be a quiet week, so I was going to do the New Year's Eve gala looks from Denmark. I was going to get the tiara video up on Thursday. I filmed bits of it, I think, yesterday, and I probably will get it up today. But I'm like that was not, again, this whole Meghan thing was not not my thought process. Gosh, I keep waiting for, like, the sun to move, like, past this little corner of my window. Hasn't quite done that yet. But, yes, I'd be interested in doing that. Someone it would actually be cool to interview somebody who knows more about that, 'cause I don't know a ton, and there are people who definitely are experts in that. Guys, I am drinking my hot chocolate with some mint leaves in it, and I do not feel like I have elevated. So, 'cause that seemed to be Megan's whole thing, is like, you put mint leaves in it. Oh, you've elevated the ensemble. Diana says, last question for me. Do you think ARO is dead? And where is Doria in the show? So Doria may show up in the show. I wouldn't be surprised if she does. And I wouldn't be surprised if the kids show up either. But when it comes to ARO, that's the huge $65,000 question, because it does still exist in the patent system. So they may be working it through. But launching the series too early means, and this is something that I've mentioned, if you guys have been following my videos on American Riviera Orchard, is one of my things that I said is that if she launched the series and she couldn't secure the patents or trademarks, anything she used that she was going to sell, she can't sell because she didn't secure the stuff. So they either have to edit some of that out, or they have to, like, she may have to try to sell that later through American Riviera Orchard. But if the show itself is not mentioning American Riviera Orchard, then the show becomes completely pointless. Because the whole point of everything should be to reference American Riviera Orchard, because the show itself won't make that much money, but selling things through the show is what will make you money. So if she can't do that for various reasons, then the show is pointless. The show has no purpose because it's not going to make her any money. Now, granted, she could still make money on the back end from people buying the stuff, but the question is, when will that happen? Will they have to change the name entirely? Will she ever get the trademarks? Is it going to take her years to secure all this? Because again, she didn't do her diligence. Like, why didn't you start this eons ago? Why didn't you start this 4 years ago? Why now? Like, you literally started it as soon as you launched it. That's stupid. That is like, and that I've had, well, let's double check, guys, because you never know, right? I could have totally missed it. Okay, guys, I have gotten an email from Aya Jules, which is owned by Chelsea Davy, Harry's former girlfriend, on my fashion channel, but I have not gotten an email from American Riviera Orchard. So I don't know, because I signed up for the email list and I followed Megan's Instagram account for probably, maybe about a year or so, because I was curious when it would go live, because I knew it would. And so the Instagram account finally came to fruition, but the the other thing, not so much. And so what does that mean for Breckberry Orchard? I think it's dead. Like, seriously. Or it's like so bungled at this point, like, it's embarrassing. Like, I can't foresee how Netflix is not laughed out of the room sometimes for the stupidity of signing Harry and Meghan to a $100 million deal. If it was a $10 million deal, that would make sense to me. $100 million deal for these two nincompoops, you are out of your ever loving mind, and that's just burning money for no reason. So, but the good thing is that most likely they're probably not going to get half of that money, because it's all tied up in, like, production. So part of that money goes to production costs. Part of it goes to pay them. They probably get bonuses if content performs well. They probably get a certain amount per series or whatever that comes to the platform. But I would imagine metrics based on performance is a key portion of it. And their stuff has been crap. So you're not going to get a ton from Netflix if you consistently produce crap. And even if they're re-signed, they'll be re-signed at a much lower rate, is my prediction. Anya D, thank you so much for the tip. She needs to come off her high horse and host How to Bag a Prince, a tongue-in-cheek show where she bumbles through things. That would work finally. Yeah, I agree with that. How to bag a prince, how to social climb, how to fake knowing things, how to tell a story from when you were 10 years old that only makes sense in your deluded fantasy mind, and tell it as if it's this groundbreaking achievement for the 50th time. Again, guys, I've said this in videos. She will talk about the soap story while doing dishes in the show. I'm actually gonna do something for the show. So if you guys are part of the members and want to watch, or other people, I will create something for it so we can all enjoy the hilarity of watching together. So anyways, yeah, they really They do things too earnestly and don't like, they're so out of touch because they should do things more campy style almost and more satire, like they're in on the joke, rather than trying to be earnest. When they try to do earnest, it doesn't work. Just doesn't seem to ever come through. Alright, we got Kiki Mitt. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I really do appreciate it this morning. It's been a busy morning. So I'll try to mostly focus on questions, guys, because I know I haven't been able to get to the main chat quite as much. So hopefully that is okay with y'all. And we got M. Matthews here. Wendy, foreign. Hi, love Mary. She's been dipping into the vault, and I saw her wear several pieces that haven't seen the light for decades. Hope the Brits do the same. Queen Camilla seems to be open to it. Yeah, Queen Camilla has worn a couple things that people were like, I don't know what that is. Like she wore the stomacher, and people were like, no clue what it was. And it was from the Grenville donation. And so we will see more when Mary is, I think, clever with the pieces. Although I would say the person who is the most clever is probably Maxima and probably Queen Sylvia. So Maxima of Netherlands, Queen Sylvia, Sweden. So Sylvia found two tiaras that had not seen the light of day in probably decades, if not maybe a century, and brought them out, including the steel cut. There was even a steel cut that was like behind a door or something that she found. One was buried in a cupboard, another one, and they're like really cool, very unique. And then Maxima has been very creative with the pieces. I think Catherine Amalia will be as well. So that'll be awesome. Michelle Ball for your hot chocolate fun. Oh, I thank you so much for the tip. I love hot chocolate, guys. It's my favorite thing. My parents got me. It's called Hotel Chocolat. It's like from the UK. I actually went into the store in the UK and actually saw the hot chocolate maker, thought it was cool, and thought, I was like, oh, I could buy that. Like at some point. But my parents did it for me. So I didn't even ask. So it all works well for me. This is my Salzburg mug. I usually try to get the Starbucks you were here or whatever mugs. So that's always fun. Mama Bear says, delighted. I've actually made it to my first live on time. Yay. The Wrong Shoe says, I got here early for a change. Belfast, Northern Ireland is freezing this afternoon, but happy New Year to you all. Why, thank you. Hope you had a good New Year too. We have Elaine. I applaud Netflix for one thing. They kept the comment section open for Harry's wife's trailer. Will they now listen to the public about why we don't want anything produced by Harry and his wife? So to be fair to Netflix, they were the stupid ones who signed the deal. They were the super ones who offered and signed the deal. So it's their stupidity that has led them here. So they, though, as a company, want to get their pound of flesh. And so the easiest way to do that is to get whatever content they can out of Harry and Meghan. And so this is definitely a symptom of that. And they're like, okay, so she has this idea. We all think it's going to fail because we've worked with her and she's terrible to work with and she really has no good ideas. But it may get us some publicity and attention. And yeah, so they were locked into this deal. And this was again their stupid mistake. Locked into the deal for like 4 years. And so because of that, or 4 or 5 years. So because of that, it's like they have to keep going. And it might cost them more to actually back out of the contract than it would be for them to keep going and watch them flop and maybe succeed. So Netflix is, doing what it has to do to get through until the contract ends. So from a company perspective, they're doing what they had to do. Though I'm sure they have deeply regretted this decision. But a lot of Hollywood studios have, because a lot of Hollywood studios, this was not an outlier. There were a lot of studios signing multi-million dollar deals, like hundreds of millions of dollars, like Shonda Rhimes got what, like $500 million or something from Netflix, like an insane amount. But her stuff has been successful. So that's a big difference. I don't know, again, why in the world anybody would think these two nincompoops, the one who barely graduated high school and the D-list actress who couldn't do anything, were going to create good content. Like, that's just sheer stupidity. The only thing they were going to do, the only thing Netflix should have paid them to do is their show on the Royals. And that was it. But Netflix, I don't think, trusts them to do much else because Netflix has not given them leeway to like go into scripted series or stuff like that. I think Netflix is too nervous about their performance. So we got Diane. Hi, Arna and fam. Hi, Brittany. So excited to make it on time. We got Becky here as well, and Azima. We have Oksana and Deborah. We got Liz E as well, and Shadish. And let's see. What else we have here? We have Ruth and Christina and Becktopia and Linda. Good morning, all from West Virginia. Love to all your shows and sweet Pippa. Love to cable TV and all my entertainment from YouTubers. Keep up the good work. Yeah, this is the thing too. All like entertainment has moved to like YouTube. I watch YouTube constantly. I watch YouTube all the time. I don't really watch like I watch Netflix sometimes and series and stuff, but yeah. The Wrong Shoe says, I think Netflix missed the irony of a fake duchess in someone else's house faking authenticity with her fake friends. So overproduced, it makes Succession look like a fly on the wall documentary. That's good. Yeah. Again, because all Meghan Markle's friends are fake as she is, because they're all narcissists and they're all trying to like boost each other up. Like Abigail Spencer's comments, I'm like, who in the world do you think you're describing? Like, that might work in, I don't know, deluded fantasy Hollywood land, but if you're trying to appeal to real people, you sound crazy. You honestly legit sound crazy. I would never say, I want somebody to see your heart song and to know the wonderful, like magical, wonderful something, something, something. And I'm like, what in the world are you talking about, person? Like, I don't even, what? Have you lost your ever loving mind? Like, that's literally how she sounds like. And it's not necessarily a good thing. All right, you got this fan, and thank you so much for the tip this morning. I love that how you included Meghan McCain's tweet. I feel like if more people like Meghan, Kelly, et cetera, speak out against these two, the US audience is finally catching up, maybe a little behind. Yes, because here's the thing. I live in royal land because I like royals. So I am constantly thinking about what's going on and I'm like analyzing things and I'm thinking of video ideas and everything. And if you follow royals, you're obviously probably not thinking it the same way because I do this for a living, but you're thinking about the royals too. But that's like let's say a conservative estimate, like 10% of the population that's like really, really into royals. Everybody else is more of a cursory. You'll have people who are a bit more into it, people who just hear the big news stories, and people who do not give two craps. And so you will have like the whole spectrum people of watching this. What I think is really interesting is that this trailer is playing so badly that people who are not normally commenters on royalty are like, hey, who in the world does this ex-duchess think she is? This is so out of touch, so crazy. And I really liked Meghan McCain's comments because it's like, yeah, you look kind of silly walking around and flaunting your wealth when people are struggling to put food on the table. It's not a great idea. And I think she captured a lot of people when she said, "Well, I liked you at first, but the more I see you, the less I like you. And the way you've treated your family, that doesn't work." So Megan made the catastrophically stupid mistake, and I have a whole series on Megan's blunders. I've done 3 episodes, so I need to do more. I should put them in their own category because like, own playlist because I feel like they probably need it. But when it comes to Megan's blunders, I mean, this Mexico was probably their stupidest decision, but then you add that on to their like hurt feelings because they didn't get their way in Mexico, which was their own stupid mistake. I call it stupid because it deserves to be called out for the sheer stupidity that it was, thinking they could just dictate terms to the royal family. That's not how this works. That's not how this works. So they rightly got completely and utterly shot down. 100%. That's what it should have happened, and that's what did happen. And then they because they were hurt and because they were feeling vengeful and vindictive, they went on Oprah Winfrey. And once you do that, you can't walk that back. You can't walk that back. They disparaged his family on international television for money. Now, they said they didn't get paid, but do I truly believe that? No, we got Oprah being a little finicky on how she got the money, like the $1 million or whatever, to host Kamala for that thing. So I don't totally trust Oprah. But the more time goes on, people who don't watch the royals, like they see Harry and Meghan more and more, and they're like, these people are kind of obnoxious. These people are kind of out of touch. These people, I don't really like them. Maybe sometimes even people can't put an exact point on why they don't like them. They just don't like them. And it's because of Harry and Meghan. And that's why I made that point in the video I uploaded last night. It's like this whole problem has nothing to do with the R word, has nothing to do with, Meghan's treatment by the British press. It's all Meghan. No one told her, even if you were disparaged by the British press, nobody told you to go on freaking Oprah Winfrey and whine about it. That was your decision. That was your decision. And now, yeah, you're dealing with the consequences of that because that was your own sheer stupidity and hubris. You thought you could do that and not get any stinking clap back, and you did. And now you're whining and complaining about it and like frustrated. Like, no. Lizzie B said, thank you so much for the tip as well. Will she cook Nigerian food on her show? I'm going to guess the answer is no. She may mention it, but like, most of her friends are white. Most of her good friends are white. So let's be honest, this woman is culturally white. Is that a bad thing to say? I don't feel like that's a bad thing to say anymore because it's like I don't have really any evidence that you were anything else. So yeah, she probably won't do much with Nigeria. And you also gifted one Royal News Network membership. So I thank you so much, Lizzie B. You are so kind this morning. Mama Bear says, with love, love for who? Herself? Yes. Yes. It is from like, even when she said, I want people to be, no, I was thinking about them. What she really means is, I want people to be thinking about me, not thinking I was thinking about them, but thinking about me. Like it's all me, me, me. And even just the name is very self indulgent. Mega Catcher says, thoughts of Meghan's clothes for the trailer. Very beige. I thought she hated beige because the royals wouldn't let her wear color. Right, right. But she's kind of one of those people who is like thinks that wearing beige makes her like quiet luxury. I don't really think that's the case. And when it comes to the clothes, and again, somebody made a great point in a comment on a video talking about how when it comes to people who are in like the cooking industry and stuff, they will wear white because white you can bleach, but the clothes she's wearing, you can tell you can't just put those in the wash and bleach them. They're very delicate, or they're actually beige. So they're a color that would be difficult to address. Because like again, if you're wearing sheer white, and this is not sheer white, this is like I would call it like an oatmeal or something. I couldn't just, if I got to stand on this, I couldn't just bleach it because it would ruin it. And Meghan's wearing something actually sort of similar in color. So she can't bleach it if she gets something on it. She has to like spot clean it and everything. And that's going to be really hard. Whereas if you're wearing like sheer white, you can just bleach it if you got, marinara sauce on it and move on. So I really do think like she's one of those people who thinks that wearing neutrals is like classy. Neutrals don't make you classy. Your clothes and how you wear them and how you style them is actually what makes you classy, not the other way around. All right, Kate Greenham, thank you so much for the tip this morning. I think wearing more from the Royal Collection is a subtle but great way to boost positive interest in the family in their endeavors, especially with the rise of online creators reviewing them. Yes, it is. And I will say as well, when it comes to the Danes, what I think is great is that they do have their crown jewels and the tiaras worn by the Queen constantly on display. So you can actually go into the vault and see them. I actually saw the emerald tiara. So I have a little SD card in my computer here for that video because I'm hoping, I think it's in there. And you can actually see and go into the vault and actually see these particular tiaras. And so what's cool, and well, the particular emerald one, and what's cool about that is that it gives you an opportunity to really like learn more and see. So just to give you guys, this is from, I'll share with you guys real quick here, just to give you a tease for royal fashion news here. So this is actually from my gimbal thing. And so there's a tiara. It's moving a bit more than I wanted to, but there you go. There you go. So you can go in, and that was the tiara she wore this week. She wore the earrings as well, not the necklace, which I think is good because the necklace got lost in sort of the whatchamacallit. It sort of got lost in the dress because it was lace. But I think it's cool. I really do like how the Danes do this. This is another bits of their collection. And so I think, and then we can see the piece because they actually had removed it at the time. So again, this is just for fun here real quick. And I got I don't know if it shows up on screen, but you can actually see where the necklace that she used for like a stomacher thing for a tiara that she used to wear. So it says in use by the Queen. So So you can actually see the imprint of the necklace she used for, or the piece that she used for the bandeau is right here. So it used to hang right here, and she used that for the bandeau. But she has these two pieces now that she can use for something. She can put this on. I was thinking this would be less shaky than it is because I did with my gimbal, guys. It's hoping to be a bit less shaky. But oh well. But it's still cool, right? Right? Okay. So, anyways, very cool. And I think, yeah, I mean, and the thing too is that I think even with the reviews, so yeah, like you can't, as a royal, you can't control the media like you used to. That's just the case. But the more you kind of designate the people that you think can do good giving, like, access to you, because like my thought is for the royal families, I'm like, I'm great because I'm exposing you to an entire English speaking audience that didn't know you existed. And because of Harry and Meghan, I feel like the interest actually in royals overall has grown, not to them, but they by as a an afterthought have sort of raised the interest in royalty in general, which reflects well on the real royals, badly on them. And the more people know about how real royals operate, the less they are impressed by Harry and Meghan. So the more I can raise their profile and stuff, the better and everything. So, anyways, that's just fun. Hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of that. Netflix says Netflix won't be making, this is Paul. Netflix won't be making a mint out of Megan's cooking, more like a profit warning. Yeah, I don't think they'll make a ton unless they, because like the other route I could see Netflix going is like, okay, you really suck at getting trademarks and patents through, but maybe we can sell some of the stuff you're using under our Netflix banner, so they make the most of the money and Megan makes a smidge of that. That's possible. And we do have Barbara became a YouTube member. Why, thank you so much, Barbara. I hope you enjoy it. This is going to be, oh, I do have a video I filmed for our princes and princesses, which I need to get out. And because I just had some thoughts as I was going into the sort of the new year, and actually thoughts I was spiraling on right before I left for my trip. So I hopefully you guys find that interesting once I get that done. And then I'm going to get work on the tiara video today. I may work on a video for tomorrow today, because I'd like to have like one day where I'm not doing that much. I really want to work on my cross stitch. I'll share it with you guys like in the members and maybe everyone overall when I'm done. But it's a project I started probably in like 2013 or something. And it's like literally halfway done. Like I left it halfway done pretty much for a really long time. So I'm like, I just need to finish it. Just need to finish it. So BD Trend says the only ordinary thing Meghan Markle elevated was herself, and only kind of sort of. Well, I think Paula was right when she said Meghan elevated herself to the status of royalty and then downgraded herself to influencer. Like the thing is that everybody in Hollywood knows is that Meghan is pathetic for thinking that somehow being in Hollywood is better than being royalty. Like they were sort of curious when she first came over, but more and more, the more time goes on, they realize how pathetic Harry and Meghan are. So I wanted to say, because I will be doing a video utilizing this thumbnail. So sorry, I'm looking over here because I have a second screen. This is the only way to do it. And this will be a thumbnail for an upcoming video. From this to this. No one is impressed. This impresses people. This does not. This does not. So anyways, just putting that out there to look forward to, guys. So, Kay Hatches says, looking forward to your takes on the week's events. Best wishes to you, Miss Pippa, and all your subscribers. Why, thank you. Miss Pippa is currently sleeping downstairs because she got to come with me to the store this morning because I don't have mint because I'm not super duper fancy. So we got Star Child Jess. Hey, I wonder if she was now regretting the release of her cooking show, or she might have begged Netflix not to release it, that it wasn't the right time. Probably not. I would imagine she probably actually did, because I think her show would play much better in the season in which it was filmed. I think it's going to be weird in the dead cold of January doing a show that looks light and springy, and you're all like, but I can't do any of that now. Or that's not the season for ice cream. Like she's serving her friends ice cream. And I'm sure some of the people in the audience will be thinking, the last thing I want right now is ice cream. I want coffee. I want warm stuff. I don't want ice cream. And like sometimes you can get, excited for the next season or something, but I just really don't think most people will be super excited, especially if she's trying to teach us how to do certain things, like going into a floral shop. Oh, I meant to grab flowers this morning. It's going to put a flower thing right here just to, again, mimic the silliness, but yeah. So anyways, we got Fan says, then thank you so much for the tip. If this fails, Netflix cuts ties, no arrow. What's next for Meghan? Could the book and divorce be what's next? I mean, honestly, probably the thing that would make her the most money might be a divorce, to be quite honest. I don't think the Netflix deal doesn't end until late 2025. So they'll stay on. Netflix, here's my thought from a business perspective for Netflix. They're probably thinking, okay, so Harry and Meghan's output sucks. They generate a lot of noise, but nothing's really coming to pass. So let's do this. She wants to do this show. We can do this show. And if it's successful, we can order a second season because they're within the time frame of the deal. And it doesn't take that long to produce this. So we can do this series and then go on and do another one. Now, the question is, again, I think you'll get a lot of looky-loos for the first episode, but will a lot of people finish the series? That's a big question because this is not just how many people watched the first episode in terms of like the number of people. It's how long they watched. I've explained this, but to give you guys the bare bones basics of YouTube, I can have a video that has been watched by 100,000 people and a video that's watched by, let's say, 70,000 people result in the same amount of money because one video was 45 minutes and the other one was 30 minutes. So because of that time discrepancy, even though the video that was watched by 70,000 people had less views, the watch time overall was higher because it's longer. And so the video with 100,000 views, the watch time was shorter. And because of that, those two videos actually made the equal amount. I'm sure you're probably not totally following this, but it does make sense. So sometimes I'm like, well, I don't always I am going to try to get better about making some shorter videos that are like 20 minutes because it takes me a shorter amount of time to edit them. But I do still like the longer pieces and I will still do those because people tend to watch them for a long time. Like my watch time is very good for this channel. I'll look sometimes and go, oh, well, that video didn't perform as well, but the watch time I can see is higher. So I may make the same this day as I did this day. I should get better into my metrics, but those are the sort of like the bare bones basics. So if you have shorter videos, you can maybe get more views, but you might get less revenue overall. Although I will say my number one video ever was the Jordanian royal wedding video. I think my average watch time was like a minute or something. And that was very lucrative because it ended up with 3 million views eventually. It's kind of funny because it was like massive. I got like 2 million views in like 2 days. And then it stagnated at like 2.9 million views for a long time before finally cresting the ridge over to 3. And it was just funny because I have videos that are one and done. Like people watch them one time and never again. And then I have videos that I thought wouldn't do that well. And then people like, they just have this long longevity. And I just find it fascinating just from, I don't know. I'm an analytical person. I like analytics and looking at numbers. I hate math, but I enjoy looking at numbers because numbers sort of tend to not lie generally. All right, we have Tracy. Thank you so much for this tip this morning from Australia. Hope you are not staying up too late. And we also have Monica gifted 5 Royal News Network memberships. So I thank you so much. Monica, you are so kind. I just realized I should do like a I did my live stream last time on New Year's Eve. So I guess I did kind of hit it, but I thought it would be interesting because you could do a New Year's Eve live stream and it'll have people going in like 2 separate years, which is kind of crazy for the same live stream. So we have M. Matthew says, maybe I'll pull on my gear and fling and sprinkle mint all over the snow in the yard and elevate my sub-zero wind chill experience. Oh, that's good. That's good. Nick W says, hello, everyone. Love you, Brittany. Why, thank you. Lady Aviator says, Brittany, RNN, I enjoy cross stitch as well. I never make the same design twice. I made 2 recently for my Royal Netherlands Air Force colleagues. They love them. That is so cool. That is so cool. Yeah, I really enjoy cross stitching. I enjoy finding, I have, honestly, guys, because it's become sort of a dying art, I ended up purchasing, if I see something and I like it, I buy it. And the reason is that I may not see it again, which is really sad because like it's just not an art that people enjoy as much as they used to, which I think is just incredibly sad. So actually when it comes to, but I'm actually sitting on a little bit of a cross stitch mint, guys, because I bought basically every single Thomas Kincaid Disney cross stitch kit that was ever available on the market. And the company that was making them ended up going under. And so I'm sitting like, I could sell some of my small ones for like a couple $100. I kid you not. I kid you not. Like, I think I've pretty much opened all of them just because I'm a dork and just wanna look at them. But, like, yeah, not joking at all, like 100,000,000, not 100,000,000, but like a couple $100. Like, the big ones could probably definitely go for like several $100 probably. I can easily make a lot of money off of selling those on, like, eBay. So Alan's Franson says both of the nanny's sons are Harry and Meghan's godsons. It's very sad. It is. It is. Alex G says the timing is wrong. They should have delayed it until next week. I mean, I get what you're saying. I get why people want to delay, but like there's sometimes where you can't totally expect the news and you're like already dedicated. And unless it's like a 9/11 level, like that definitely delayed things. It didn't quite reach that level. Still, of course, terribly tragic. But if it was like just absolutely earth shattering and stuff, then maybe. But they were kind of dedicated to the time slot, and nobody was smart enough to say, "Oh, there's been this terrible thing that's happened. Let's wait a week." Nobody did that. Billy says, besides her bad mouthing the royals, haven't they calmed down and just started doing their own thing now? Not really. I mean, they don't badmouth the royals quite as much, but what they're doing, I feel like, is almost worse. And something I wish the royal family would address is that they are undermining their brand by constantly doing their own thing and really not having any respect for the institution and what it does. So I feel like that's something that the royals need to address. It's something that I've felt is very frustrating to see time and time again because when it comes to the royals, it's like, yes, Harry and Meghan don't represent them anymore, and I get that. But Harry and Meghan are also claiming to be royals and doing things like going to Colombia and Nigeria and going on these faux royal tours for seemingly no reason. And those, I think, undermine the what the monarchy does. It's kind of like a brand. I made the example. It's like having a Bath and Body Works competitor that's called Body and Bath Works. Well, that doesn't work. It undermines your brand. And so you have this thing where I think Harry and Meghan are like risking doing that, and the royals should address that more. And so they're not necessarily always ragging on their family, but they are making little barbs, and you could see like you can read into certain things and everything. And so that's kind of the issue. But as well, it's like once you've said those kind of things, they just don't go away. Sorry, I've been wanting to like put lotion on my hands for a little bit now. And I'm like, oh, well, I could grab my lotion and make an example. But yeah, Harry and Meghan, they are not bashing the family quite as much, but they are undermining the family. They are ignoring the stipulations that the queen gave them when it came to leaving the royal family. And they just don't seem to have a lot of respect for the institution. And that is playing publicly. All right, we got Wendy. Thank you so much for the tip. Does Megan literally not realize the differences in the meaning behind the Duchess and Duchess of Sussex? Would Harry or someone else not have explained that to her? Is she signaling for a divorce? See, that's what's really fascinating is because she does do that on American Riviera Orchard. She does use the there, Megan, the Duchess of Sussex, even capitalized, but she's not doing it on the other thing. It's like, why? What's the angle? I don't know. It's very strange. It's very, very strange. So she knows, she clearly knows because they did it right one time and in Instagram, but they're not doing it right this time. So it's like, is she setting herself up for a potential divorce? I mean, we've heard Harry film the video, and obviously they filmed it a couple of times because we saw clearly. It took me a while, and I feel like I'm so bummed I didn't say that in my video. I'm like, because I wanted to say, I bet you there is a 2025 that she did elsewhere in the sand already. And there definitely was. And so it's like they have been practicing this multiple times. But I mean, they'll probably be one of those people who stay loved up until all of a sudden they're like, oh, okay, we can't do it anymore. Like we've been sort of separated for a couple of years now. Now we're officially filing for divorce. Meryl Streep did that with her husband. Will and Jada Pinkett Smith had done that. So I think there's a precedence for Harry and Meghan to do that too in Hollywood. And I think she's setting herself like the danger with ARO is that Harry is not attached to it in the slightest. And so it's 100% a thing where if it goes really well and she doesn't need him anymore, she can just drop him. because it's all in her name. So she's maybe the one making like all the money and all the revenue, and I don't know. So like again with divorce and stuff, it's everything's split pretty well, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Tracy says, and thank you so much for the tip as well. I feel bad for the backlash the Sussexes are getting. Failure at an epic scale. Sadly, they haven't been nice. Just hope their failures don't land in the taxpayers having to pick up the bill for the bankrupt. So yeah, the backlash is bad. I almost named my video that last night, but then I kind of was like, I just wasn't really feeling backlash and the look of the video. So, anyways, just wasn't really working. But the backlash is real, and the failure though is their own fault. I don't think the taxpayers will be responsible for any of it, but yeah, it's the backlash is their own fault. Nobody told them to go on Oprah Winfrey. Nobody told them to do that. That was their mistake. Nobody told them to do Netflix or Spare. I mean, I know you guys apparently they don't have any other ways to make money, so that's all they could do. But okay, so we got Gretchen the first says world events are beyond anyone's control, but crap show the look and execution of Arrow, Netflix, and everything else Meghan does is on her. Yeah, I think if this series had been done better in terms of like my suggestion of making like either more campy or more accessible to the broader public, I think it would have done much better. But especially in light of world events, but it looks ostentatious, it looks pretentious, and when you have a difficult like situation globally, it really looks bad. Mary Marr says, love your commentary on all this. Spot on and so articulate. Why, thank you. Alice Ranson says, I completely agree. I agree completely. People don't mind people being rich. They mind when the rich people patronize and pretend to be humble and ordinary. It grates. It does. It does. And I think royals walk that line very well because they do have to be ostentatious. They're royalty. They have tiaras to wear and jewelry that costs, thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so there's nothing I don't think wrong with them playing into that. And they don't really try to act ordinary either because they're not. They do try to connect with people the best they can. I mean, actually, the huge advantage the Wales have now is that they've gone through a massive health crisis as a young family. And that's not something everybody experiences. And it should give the kids more empathy. It's going to, I think, play well for the family in the future and make them more accessible because they've been through something. I think you can, if Harry and Meghan haven't gone through anything, to be quite honest. Like they pretend to have, but like really, like complaining about the media that the media were mean to me, I can't really. I mean, their fans have been mean to me, so you got that. But as an audience member, I can't really connect to that because I'm like, well, like most of it wasn't that like I was watching most of the press wasn't that bad until you started behaving badly and the press became bad. Like that's kind of how it works sometimes. And it wasn't honestly that bad. So I'm like, how are we categorizing this? But yeah, like it's patronizing when somebody's rich, pretending to be humble and just ordinary like everybody else. I'm like, no, you're not. You have to almost play into. That's I guess what Paris Hilton does in her cooking show is like she plays into the fact that she's an uber wealthy woman who doesn't know how to cook. I was like, that works because that's real. That's real. And I think people appreciate that authenticity. Even if she's still playing a bit of a character, we all probably know. I mean, I would guess she doesn't know how to cook. And so, yeah, like one of the things is I've thought about doing this. I may do this now since we officially haven't launched for Meghan Markle's TV show. But it's like I've always had this idea of taking this cookbook that I have that's 100 years old and trying to make the recipes for it because there's no temperatures, there's no real, there's not the same, let's say even like system of cups and teaspoons as there were then that we have now. And so it's like I don't like making it's totally different ball game because it's just totally different how the recipes are written and everything. And there's an element to me. I feel like there's an element of comedy there because it's like I would call myself a great cook. I don't cook big meals that often or whatever, but I'm also single. So it's like if you're living by yourself, why do you want to make a big production in your kitchen if you're going to have the one to clean it up, right? So you can create things, I think, and make it all sort of work, if that makes sense. You can be really creative and like the creativity or like the interest comes from the fact that I don't know really how to cook. I have these recipes that are written over 100 years ago that are not remotely like they are written today. Can I make these recipes work? And are these recipes that are from 100 years ago good and or better than what we have now in some instances? Because I think to me that's an interesting question. And that would be the hook. I don't know what the hook for Megan's thing is because it just seems like a rich woman parading around with her rich friends in a rented mansion trying to look and seem, humble and generous and gracious and loving and everything. And it's like, well, no, you're not. So it doesn't really work. It's only me watching says she better produce the children or they should be taken out of the line of succession. I mean, I would say, yeah, the children issue is becoming worse. Sorry, I was reading teeth and I was like, in somebody's comment, I was like, I'm a little bit ADD, so I see some things and then I say it. JSW says, Jaws Saw says, Megan has a branding problem. She wants to be seen as relatable, yet she flaunts luxury items and wealth. Wants to seem compassionate, yet cuts everybody off. Paris and Kardashians are at least honest. Yes, I would 100% agree with that. I think Megan doesn't know how to brand herself because she wants to seem relatable, kind, generous, whatever. And we all know she's not. And we all know that she loves the luxury. So she should almost lean into the luxury more instead of playing it as if she's this altruistic person who's just at it doing all she wants to do to help people because she only just wants to help people. Like, we all know that's not real. It's like, we all know you want the money, honey. That's like what you're in this for is the money. At least the Kardashians are honest that they're in it for the money. And so you don't almost feel bad supporting them because it's like, well, at least they're honest with me. They just want the money. Megan's trying to act like she's going to teach you how to host. And what she really wants you to do is buy the stuff she's using so she can make money. Like, yeah. Again, branding is key. Understanding your brand and knowing how to brand is like huge. Allison says, Megan is just so fake and unlikable. Too many of us see the truth of her. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Her vocal fry just makes my teeth hurt. Yeah, just a little bit. Well, it's just like it comes off as so pretentious. Karen says that hair in the jewelry was what completely turned me off. Gross. Yeah, a lot of people mention that. I don't really go too far into that because I always want to try to go a little bit deeper. But yeah, it's like she's flaunting all this jewelry, very expensive pieces of jewelry, and wearing it while she's cooking. And most normal people don't do that. So Diane says dullness of Montecito and Nair du Spare have rebranded bulimia as the ability to regurgitate other people's creative thoughts. This is their only original achievement. Yeah, they're not original thinkers. They're not original thinkers. Lisa says if this were their first thing she ever offered, I think she would have had a chance. After Oprah bashing the royals, dumping her father, and all the lies, it's just fake. Yes, I agreed. If this came out in 2021, it might have been a smash hit. It's unfortunately for her coming out in 2025, and she's had 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024 behaviors all culminating in sort of an epic, massive backlash to her. So yeah, again, all a mistake of her own making. All of it, this is all her fault. I put it at the feet of Megan. Yeah. Caroline says, I'm curious how many of us would do afternoon tea like in the trailer. As an Aussie, we are way more relaxed to go to such an effort. That's why we are big on barbecue rather than dinner parties. Yeah, like a tea party is something you go to for fun if you're in London or maybe at the Empress Hotel in British Columbia, in Victoria, or something like that. It's something you do in very specific situations, especially as an American, that I wouldn't do normally. Like one time when I was going to London in March of 2023, somebody asked me to get a pint, which I did take a picture of, and I think I forgot to post it. I can't remember because I really didn't drink much of it, to be quite honest, because I don't really drink. But somebody said, "Oh, gave a tip and said you should go to afternoon tea." And so I went and did afternoon tea, and it was nice, but it's not like something that I would do a lot of. It was, like, interesting, but not my favorite thing. Allison says, "I bought mint scrambled garbage bags that repelled bugs. I bought them from Costco and just cracked open the box in honor." Oh, I love that. I love that. BD Trend says, "Megan and Mindy's gazebo lunch looked like my bridal shower, not a luncheon. Maybe I should have used the mint." Oh, gosh. SEJ says, "Oh, awesome. You went to Amsterdam. What is it like there? Was it your first time?" No, I've been to Amsterdam 3 times now. So I like it. I like it. I mean, it's hard because when I'm working on an event and stuff like that, I don't really get much of a touristy time. I'm usually working on a couple of different things, and so I don't get to do much of the tourist stuff, but it is a really pretty place, and it's a place I enjoy. Like, I was mostly in sort of central Amsterdam, so I wasn't in quite the periphery this time, so I really enjoyed The Hague. I liked The Hague a lot, maybe a little bit better. The houses in Amsterdam are cooler, but The Hague was nice too. I really enjoyed that because I was there in September 2023, so I did enjoy that. And yeah, so I've been there a couple of times, but I like one of the last days, I did end up going shopping part of one of the last days, but when it came to but I think I left pretty late in the day at that point because I've been waiting for a video to upload on Polo, and I kept getting stuck because it kept going, "Oh, no, you have copyrighted material." And I'm like, "I don't think I do." You have to be very careful about copyright, and of course, you wanna give your, the work to the actual creator, but the thing is that, like, in order to comment on something, you have to actually see it. It really doesn't work quite as well if you can't see it. So I try to give you guys as many clips as possible so you can see what I'm talking about. And so that's what I attempt to do. So it just kept kicking me back. And so I don't think I got out until like after lunchtime, like probably 1 or 2 or something. So Diana, oh, thank you so much for the tip. Can't sleep, so I have more questions. Great. There is an article saying Meghan deeply regrets royal racist comment. NYC Post, Grisette. Do you know if that's true? I don't know specifically if that's true, but what I could see Meghan regretting is not that she said it, because I think she feels it, whether it's right or wrong. I think that's what she truly believes. And I believe to her, it fits a victim narrative that really worked in the early 2020s, like around the BLM movement and everything. I feel like it really worked. And so she really played into that. She 100% played into that. But I think over time, she has come to regret how this whole thing, the Oprah interview and everything has played out in terms of her popularity and how people bring stuff up from that time and time again and everything, and how it has not helped her. So, like, and people use that against her constantly. I would imagine she dislikes that quite a bit. I have no sympathy for her. She did that to herself. Again, also, she lied blatantly there too, going, "Well, the Archbishop of Canterbury, he married us before our wedding in this like little moment in our backyard." And the Archbishop of Canterbury is like, "No, I didn't do that. What are you talking about?" It's like if he did that too, it's like against his position as the Archbishop because he married them without like a witness or something. And so I'm like, anyways, I think she does regret some of that because I think has re she has had, I think, this vision in her mind how when she said things, certain things she believed would happen, and they didn't happen that way, and I think that really does, like, annoy her to no end. Alright, Nick's W says, "Do you think that Megan's PR team, management team are doing these things over the past few years on purpose to make her look bad, or is she just not her listening? Who is her management?" I think a big part of it is that she's not listening. She's not listening, and apparently her team is too afraid to tell her no, and they look foolish. Like, the idea that Ashley Hansen is getting all this work from working for Harry and Meghan, I'm like, "Really?" They have the worst PR I've ever seen. It's awful. It's horrible, and, like, people are, like, clamoring at the gate to get you. I don't think so. I think she was clamoring to leave. She wanted to leave a long time ago, and she finally got out. I think most people end up wanting to leave. It might have been that she had some sort of health issue, so it might have been her health issue that kind of forced her to stick around longer than she intended, but I don't think Harry and Meghan in particular are great at, like, helping people, really. So, yeah, her PR, and I think sometimes too, her PR team, based on allegedly how she treats her staff members, I would not be surprised in the slightest if they sometimes really enjoy having moments where it falls flat on her face. I think they probably enjoy it, to be quite honest. If I would, but I'd also probably get yelled at. So, you'd get yelled at by her. So maybe that wouldn't be quite so pleasant. But I'm sure, like, I would take If I was an employee and I gave my person advice and they didn't take it and then they fall flat on their face, I'd take a little bit of pride in that. So, but I imagine they are pretty miserable a lot. We have Oksana says, "Thank you, Diane, for the gift. Happy New Year." Yes, that's so sweet. Diane gifting a membership. We have Gretchen the First says, Meghan Markle can't see that peeps like Martha Stewart, Ina Garten, Joanna Gaines, etc., honed their crafts quietly for years before TV happened. Yes, exactly. She kind of bashes through things without doing the prep work. I mean, you even just see this in American Riviera Orchard. It's like, how stupid are you to launch the brand name and everything, and then not have secured the patents? You should not have done diddly squat unless you had secured the patents. And yes, people may be following the patent process. Who cares? Don't launch it until you're ready. You launched it too early. You didn't do any newsletters to keep up the brand, and now it looks like officially defunct, and you look like a fool. She looks like an absolute fool to the world. SEJ says Jennifer Garner calls it the fake cooking show or not the real cooking show or something, doesn't she? It's hilarious. I've seen clips on YouTube. Yes, she calls it a fake cooking show. And it's just her in her kitchen being normal. Yes, her kitchen is not normal, but she is normal in it. And that's what matters. She can have the best kitchen in the world, but she still looks like a normal mom trying to make stuff for her kids, trying to make stuff for herself, trying to be healthy and stuff. So it works because she's being normal. Like, I don't think Meghan, with her famous friends dressed to the nines, is going to seem normal and approachable to people. Water says, do you think Netflix pushed the show out and will end their contract? Yes, I think Netflix wanted this show out and done so that way they can maybe get another. They also didn't want to sit on it for infinity while Meghan Markle waited for the patents to come through and the trademarks. I think they were like, okay, screw this. We're done. Get this out. Michelle says, afternoon all, happy new year from cold London. All I saw was a very poor, simple food, nothing special. Yeah. Like there was one dish though, and I'm like, what in the world is this? I don't even know what this is. Like it didn't look appealing. I had no clue what it was. It looked way too fancy for me. So I'm like, how's this supposed to appeal? Diane Hill says, rescind her gifted title. She should locate Sussex on a map. Yeah, if she could tell me 5 things about Sussex, I'd be shocked. Jaw SW says, Jennifer Garner, because this is in response to SEJ's question, who is Jennifer Garner. Courtney Cox know their audience. They film relatable segments and use affordable products. I know they're wealthier than Meghan, but at least they're consistent in their messaging. Yes. So you see, Jennifer Garner was on Alias. She was married to Ben Affleck. So she did actually an architectural digest tour of her home. Very obviously expensive and palatial and everything. But if you're naturally more like, and of course, these people, they get things that we would never get in a million years. They do. But I think if you have your head on straight, you can make a lot of money and still seem like somebody would want to sit down and have a drink with. And Jennifer Garner seems like one of those people. If you met her, she would be the nicest person. And from all reports, that my understanding is that she is. We have not seen the same from Meghan Markle. So I just don't think Meghan Markle is. Creative Chaosify said there are hundreds of grassroots chefs and home cooks that make amazing videos on YouTube showcasing authentic dishes from all around the world. I'd rather watch them. Yeah, exactly. She has so much competition in this space. It's crazy. Paul says Netflix should have read The Room after Polo. They did, but they still have they still have a lot of money based on them. So yeah, there's not really anything they can do. Crunchy Dragon says, I'm suspecting that Meghan is a troll in whatever setting. Probably. Michelle says, I would love to know how much each of the so-called friends got paid. That's my question too. How much did these women and others who showed up on the show get paid for the honor and privilege? So yeah. I bet you have quite a bit because that YouTube money's got to go somewhere. Keely says, well, like I said, it's because Diana always signed things with Love Diana. She's copying her. She's such a weirdo. Yeah, she does not have an original idea. Guys, when I sign off on things, you'll notice I say blessings because it's something where I feel like, you can really read a religious aspect into it or you could read a non-religious aspect into it. I just I hope you have, basically, I'm just saying, I hope you have a blessed day, saying blessings. And so it's something that I probably learned from somebody else, but something I do. But if somebody called their show like blessings, then their name or something, and I go, And, like, I know they followed me for a long time or had some sort of connection. I go, "Did you take that from me?" I'd be curious. Although I will say, guys, oh my gosh, I've been watching the Daily Mail, and, I know a lot of royal reporters follow me. And a lot of people from the Daily Mail follow me because I'm looking at some of those articles going, I bet you got that idea from me. And that might sound a bit conceited, but there was definitely a bit from Berkshire to Buckingham that I shared. She shared it on Instagram. I shared it on X. And because I shared it on X, sometimes X stuff gets picked up a lot more by news outlets. And so then everybody's commenting on this thing. And I'm like, I bet you got that from me. Because I reposted and I amplified the comment. And so, although Berkshire to Buckingham has a huge Instagram following, not saying that, but I feel like a lot of news stories get picked up from Twitter. So I should have looked and tagged her if there was if she had a Twitter or an X, but I didn't look. So that was my bad. Because I felt like the best way to give her credit was actually just to screenshot it because that's the easiest thing to do because she explained it so well. Avaha says, I will watch the everyday authentic people on YouTube sharing their passion and expertise for gardening, cooking, crafting, and decor. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I don't think Megan has a passion for any of this. I think her passion is like money and clothing. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I almost feel like when you're trying to say your passion is something else and we know you're just doing this for a paycheck, it's not working. Like I do this, and there are days, guys, that are definitely hard because it feels like days are long and I don't get to do quite as much, or like I'm like jumping from thing to thing to thing. But it's like I have a passion for this. I enjoy this. I go and cover royal events because I enjoy it. Like it's hard sometimes, sure, but I enjoy the process of this all. But I don't know what Megan has a passion for except for clothes and expensive jewelry. And if she maybe played that way, it would work better. I'll call me Sloven says, I've been cooking since I was a little girl. And I want to kick her out of my kitchen in a heartbeat. She looks like someone using normal pans on an induction oven, too. Haha. See, I don't even know enough to say anything about that. So I will take your word for it. Gretchen the first says Ina Garten has a show called Be My Guest where she has celebs to her home. They chat over food, and Ina has made for the guests, and then they cook a recipe from the guest. Sound familiar? Yep, somewhat. And Matthew says, Brittany, what is the name of the new channel for the Crown Report shorts? Yes, so it's called the Crown Report from Royal News Network. I need to put it in the comments and link it. I haven't done that because it's kind of it was like hard to find there for a second because there's like nothing on it yet. I'll probably start it officially here in the next little bit because I don't think the last video I did really kind of worked as well as I wanted it to. Is it over here? Ah, it's over here. Let's see. So I will just link it in the comments. And again, you guys, if oh, where'd you guys go? There you are. If you're not, and it's not like I will probably put some new content on there from time to time, maybe exclusive content to that channel. But the idea generally is to clip the bits from the Crown Report and put it on that channel. That's sort of the idea. I've seen other people do that who have big channels and who do a lot of live streams. I've seen them do that. And to me, that works because again, the audience for some of the stuff in the Crown Report might be different from the rest of the channel. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And if some people are finding and really enjoying the Crown Report and that grows really well, I might just think to myself, hey, that's not bad. So I did link it in the comment there, in the comment stream if you're interested. So look for me. And yeah, it was just like something I'd been thinking about and debated because I founded this channel. Let's see, when did I found it? March 18th of 2024 is when I founded the channel. And so I had that idea there for a while, but my question always is like, should I keep everything on the one channel? Because I don't really want this to become the Harry and Meghan channel. It's just there's a lot to discuss there. And but at the same time too, I think even if I post the videos, if people don't like the rest of what I do, but they like the other things, they might not subscribe. And so that's a way to kind of have a separate subscriber base, I think. Liz M says, I can't even watch the trailer. Everything looks beautiful, but can't watch someone cooking with that hair and the jewelry and really don't like her. The marquee in this, a bath, did it first and it suits her. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I don't think a lot of people are super excited for this. Paul says, "Wonder if Archie and Lily got the ladybug caprese along with the milkshakes." I would hope so. I would hope so. It will seem really weird, to be quite honest, if she doesn't show her kids. It'll seem really weird if she's making sorted things for kids and then not showing her kids. It'll just be weird. So, Isa Texas says everything can be elevated with mint leaves. Yes, I'm making a mess on my desk. And strawberries. Scooping ice cream is something a 7-year-old would do. No development there. Yeah, exactly. Like there's nothing that interesting about it. Nothing that interesting about it. Deb says Mindy Kaling will need some positive PR after this time. Well, yeah, Mindy Kaling's gonna have a bit of her work cut out for her because apparently, now, again, this is a thing that's been a newer phenomenon because, and I'll get to the point why it comes back to Mindy Kaling. But when it comes to publicity, not all publicity is good publicity anymore. That notion is pretty much dead because there is such a thing now as bad publicity. And yes, that sort of existed before, but when you only had, let's say, 3 channels, anytime like your product got mentioned on a channel, even in a negative way, it would raise the curiosity because you got a so much of a wider viewership than you initially had. The reality, the change has come because of the advent of social media, and everything. We are so bombarded with information that really you do need a positive thing to go on in order for your stuff to sell well. Now, this is not 100% the case, but generally speaking, you do need sort of good word of mouth and stuff because if the stuff is negative, unless it's a particular, like, let's say recently there was a situation where some of the Wicked Barbie dolls had wicked.com on it, which is technically a porn site, and they should have had wickedmovie.com. Now, that is a negative PR situation, but collectors are like, hey, I want the original box with the wrong URL on it because that might be worth more at the end of the day. So, in that situation, it actually, in some ways, played a bit positive for them, but there is really such a thing as bad publicity and bad publicity turning toxic, turning people off of you. And Harry and Meghan are experiencing that. And I say that for Mindy Kaling because Mindy Kaling recently did a show called Velma. And I've not watched actually a smidge of that show on HBO Max, but I've watched a bunch of people analyze the first season. And it was supposed to be about Velma from Scooby Doo. That show did not resemble Scooby Doo in the slightest. Like people were showing clips of that, and I was like, that looks so horrifically, awfully bad that I don't even know how to like. It looked just like one of the most horrific things ever created in the history of mankind was that show. And Mindy Kaling voiced Velma and was the creative driver for it. So she has her own bad publicity. And so people who have been paying attention in that Hollywood space, I was like, Mindy Kaling doesn't do anything for me. And if she's a part of something, it actually turns me off because I love Scooby Doo. I love Scooby Doo. It is great, especially like the first season of the original. If you watch the first season of the original, I did that a couple of years ago. It's actually really good for what it is. It's actually very good. Second season not as good, but the first season solid stories, solid villains, and everything. So it's very good. And so, like, looking at Scooby-Doo, it's like, when you mess that up, you annoy people. So, I'm not that impressed by Mindy Kaling. I don't know how she became a writer for The Office because honestly, that Velma thing was all sorts of bad. All sorts of bad. Angie says, "Do you think Netflix will not renew her contract again?" I don't think they will. If they do, it'll be a much steeper decrease because of their poor product output and everything, and their lack of, especially if this show doesn't perform well, Netflix can just go, "You guys don't perform well. Like, we're done." So, LD says, "Again, not your most flattering color. It makes you look pale." Well, I'm sorry, but I like this sweater. It's like a comfy sweater. Now, I did actually have something I was gonna wear today, and I will have to debut it next week because I took it out of the bag, and I think I'm gonna have to wash it first because it kinda had a weird smell because it came from China, but it was something my mom made for me, and I laughed hysterically at lunch when she gave it to me yesterday because it didn't quite arrive in time for Christmas, and I will have to have my co-host with me because it references my co-host. So, guys, Missy Lulu says there is a term on cults cutting everyone off. Is it shunning? Yes, it is called shunning. Creative Chaosify says, I agree, her father. He seems like a kind of guy who tells it as it is. I would agree with that. Is like it sort of, I just don't think he would go with the narrative. I think her mom's totally in on the con. That's my personal opinion. So Linda says, why have a watch party? If I wanted to watch it, I would subscribe to Netflix and watch it myself. Well, you can watch me watch it. There you go. That's sort of how we can do it. You can watch me watch it. And that might be entertaining. So Johnny says, did anyone ever already mention Pamela Anderson's 2024 cooking show trailer called Cooking with Love, her cookbook? I love you, dog biscuits, and lifestyle show, candle making, flower arranging, so much copied. Yes. Well, and there's just not that much it is hard in this space to be original. I just got to say, it's hard in this space to be original. Everything's been done before. So I do have to say that would be a challenge. All right, Tracy, thank you so much for the tip. Way down from down under in Australia. I watched Oprah and Harry Meghan story on Netflix. I've only watched your reviews since. Thank you for doing the hard work. You are so welcome. Why, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I wish I had started my channel earlier, but I was a little bit nervous about it because, oh gosh, I was like really nervous about it because when it comes to the like Harry and Meghan stuff, it's just sorry. When it comes, to the Harry and Meghan stuff, the Sussex stand I feel like was more visceral in like 2021, 2022, 2023. And so I started my channel in March of 2022. So I took a while for me to finally gain a foothold. And I really feel like things didn't get really bad until it started off in 2023 with my selfie with Catherine and Christopher Bosey being a jerk about it on social media. I hate like people go, oh, they pay you. I'm like, no, they don't, you morons. Like, you don't understand how this works. Like, I mean, I have been told that people in the Danish palace know who I am. I would imagine Harry and Meghan's team and Catherine and William's team know who I am. But does Catherine explicitly know who I was and sought me out to get a picture? No, I just happened to be in the line and asked. Like that's how it was. She probably didn't know me from out. Her team should know about me. I don't think she herself should know about me. That's just my thought. So, yeah, that's how we go. All right, Chris. Hey, Chris. Good afternoon from Sweden. Good afternoon. I'm hoping to get there this year. Really hoping to go for the christening of the new baby. Fingers crossed. It should be spring in Sweden. And the Swedish christenings, although the kids are older now, so I don't feel like we'll get quite the comedy gold that we got in years before. Really looking forward to some comedy gold there in Sweden. Hoping for, anyways. Gretchen the First says, I'd rather give Brittany $6.99 a month to watch it for me instead of giving money to Netflix. I agree with that. I'm just saying. But yeah, I mean, I pay Netflix in part for review purposes for things. So I actually pay for I like a lot of streaming stuff. So I probably pay over much for too many streaming services things, but it is what it is. Diz fan, thank you so much for the tip. So not sure if you mentioned it, but the Duke of Sussex is Duke of Edinburgh is expected to attend former President Carter's funeral this week. Yes, I did see that. And I did repost that. And so that's really cool that he gets to go and represent in that way. Obviously, it makes sense. It'll be interesting to see what happens with William and Harry in regards to the loss of Tiggy's stepson. So we may see them at a funeral for that. Not see them, but hear reports of them attending. So that's just a very sad and tragic situation for sure. But yeah, Duke of Edinburgh representing here in the United States for Jimmy Carter's funeral. So we have Diane and Brittany. Miss Pippa would like my new pup, Bonnie, a French Bulldog Dachshund mix, 10 weeks old today. Oh, so cute. So cute. Yeah, and Miss Pippa, like, it's hard because she can get along with other dogs, but she's also a bit of a diva. So here and there. Although I will say she apparently became very friendly with a Pomeranian when she was at a boarding facility. she became very friendly with him. So I thought that was really cute that she made a dog friend. Oh, Paula M. Thank you so much for the tip. I don't even know NIO. I don't even know where that's from. I love your series on Met Marit. Why, thank you. Why, thank you. I really do appreciate that. I used your comment, I think, on a video yesterday on Twitter. And I got to say, yeah, the Met Marit situation has been really fascinating. I look forward to exploring that more this year. I feel sorry for her. And in some ways I don't, in some ways I do. Because it's hard to have a child going to veering so off the path as Marius is. But I feel like a lot of those seeds were sown in his childhood, to be quite honest. And yeah, so it's just sort of sad. It's always sad when anybody from any family goes off that direction. But it has been fascinating to sort of see that and think to myself, okay, what does this mean for the Brits or for the Swedes or for the Belgians and stuff? It's like there are a lot of errant spares out there, like spares that kind of go off the rails. And yes, he's not a blood royal, but definitely he does reflect on the family overall. And you can't totally, that's why like with Harry and Meghan stuff, I'm like, you can't totally ignore them because they do reflect on the whole system. They just do. So thank you so much. All right. So Nick's W says the comments on all platforms, not Insta, obviously, are hilarious. There are big names calling her out. Yeah, I feel like this is one of those things that kind of hit the zeitgeist of looking at this, going, what are you doing? What is this? It's crazy. So Tracy says, Happy New Year. Is it possible to put an interview request with Princess Amalia to discuss tiaras? I would love to watch it. Yes. So I will be continuing to grow a bit and I will try to ask at some point. I always get nervous because I always feel like, well, I talk so much about Harry and Meghan. And so I hope people don't, appreciate what we do and everything here. But yeah, it's definitely nerve-wracking. So James Bell says, does Netflix see the negative impact of the promo? The actual show may cost Netflix memberships. There's not much worth watching to begin with. Yeah, they will see that. So I think sometimes too, how Netflix measures the performance of a series is if a series is launching in a particular day and they see a boost in subscriptions, that tells them that people are subscribing particularly for that series. Now the problem Netflix has sort of overall is that, if I can phrase this correctly or remember this correctly, is that it's sort of reached saturation. What that means is basically is that they've hit so many people at this point. I don't know how much more of an audience there is for them to hit because they have like 100 or 200 million subscribers at this point. Like, either people are going to subscribe or they're not, or they got to increase their library to get more people interested. And that's the only way to really, really do it. People share still a bit and everything. So it's kind of one of those things. It's sort of interesting because like when it comes to YouTube and let's say my channel, like the royal family channel, I kind of see them as sort of like not the pinnacle, but something to sort of gravitate towards. They have about 3 million subscribers, I believe, but they get to go on all the royal engagements in for the UK basically and record them. And that's something I can't personally do. And so I don't have quite the reason I don't, let's say, cover just general royal news more is because literally I would have to take everything from the royal family channel and that feels rude. So I do more commentary because I can't be on the ground recording and reporting on something. So I do it the other way. But anyways, what the royal family channel tells me is that although my audience will skew a little bit different, it's like I would reach saturation probably if I hit maybe 3 million viewers, like 3 million subscribers. I would probably hit market saturation, maybe. That might be the pinnacle of what you can reach. Maybe it's higher. I don't know. But I think that's probably about the pinnacle. So I have definitely not reached market saturation, but Netflix has. Netflix probably doesn't have too much of a ceiling to go to now. It's pretty much hit everybody who's going to subscribe anyways. The only way they can get more is to have more diverse shows and have particular shows. Like there's definitely a show on Netflix that I can't wait for season 2 of. And so and I also review the Harry and Meghan stuff. So I stick with my Netflix subscription, but I have it under my, it's like even more of a business email. I have it under instead of a personal one because it's more for business in a way. Debbie Fench says, became a YouTube member. Why, thank you so much. Debbie, I hope you really enjoy it. Cat Dog Queenie says, unfortunately, you are so right about her dad. He was never going to be part of the wedding. She had just come up with a narrative to keep him away. Who marries someone without meeting their parents? Yeah, I do definitely agree with that. When it comes to her dad, it's like she 100% was never intending on him meeting Harry. In my personal opinion, she never wanted him to meet Harry. So somebody asked, where do you get the download the Chrome extension? If you just Google a Chrome extension to see dislikes, it'll come up, and it's like, I think it has like 5 million reviews or something like that, or 5 million, users or something. So yeah, it's a big thing. And it's a way, again, to be able to report on something and do research on something, because the likes only tell you so much. Like, really, a like for a video, what does that mean to you if you can't see the dislikes too? Now, to give you an idea, I do get dislikes, guys, quite a bit. But usually my ratio is about, like, well, in terms of my channel, my positive like views, like, I think the average is like 98.6%. Some videos can be high in the 99s and stuff. Like, if I get into the 96, 95, that's like really rare. And that's only for like a handful of videos, but the vast majority of my videos are at 98% and above. So that's normal. Having a ratio of like in the teens of having only a likability of like 15% is not normal. Is not normal, because the thing is, when what people do when they watch particular content is they watch content they like. So unless you're like really hitting something wrong, I mean, I have dedicated people, I'm sure, who just hate my channel and just downvote everything, but they are a microscopic minority. But the dislike is a way for the general public to tell a platform or a company, hey, I don't like your thing. I don't like what you're doing here. You see the same ratio with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the live action. I think the ratio right now there is like 7%. So it's a way to see that. So yeah, you just Google Chrome extension and you for dislikes, and you can see it. And I do find it to be, unless you're me and you're really like and nerdy about that stuff, it's not going to be something that you're going to be super excited about. But I enjoy looking at it. Monique Kala says, I became a YouTube member. Why, thank you so much, Monique Kala. I hope you really, really enjoy it. We have Denial Lisa Deep River. Denial is a deep river. Got it. Her new venture will be collecting all the comments and calling 67,000 people racist for disliking her show. Yeah, that's kind of funny. And you're not wrong. Gwyneth Fairfield says, hi, Brittany. If you were hired today as Meghan's PR advisor, what advice would you give her to help her with her somewhat problematic image? So my suggestion to Meghan would be number one, stop having her friends try to talk her up as if she's a fairy godmother, because it's so fanciful and delusional. Like, you can't take it seriously. You really can't take it seriously. So my suggestion to her would be is to sort of stop doing the cosplay royal routine. Stop the soap story. Do not do the soap story again, and really focus on one singular project and making that really successful. Because what you've seen as well, and the sort of, sometimes I like have a general idea and I don't maybe execute it as well, because I'm like, oh, I got to get this out. But my general thought, Meghan launching her new personal Instagram profile, is like, you can't stick to something. She needs to stick with something and make it really, really successful. She can't stick to anything and everything. And she seems to jump from thing to thing to thing when something else isn't successful. And so she really just needs to hone her craft on one thing. Let's take podcasting, for example. Hone the podcast, get the best podcast in the world, grow it, develop it, and get better at it. Yeah, your first round might be bad, but take advice and do the second round. Do it again and again and again. And if you've done it 3 or 4 seasons and it's not working, then you can say officially it's not working. But one and done is not necessarily an indicator, especially when you have a company like Spotify artificially telling the world that you're more popular than Joe Rogan. That's an absolute, like, it's an obviously PR strategy. I guess even, I think her name is Kelsey. No, it's Travis Kelsey's sister-in-law. She recently launched a podcast and it trended above Joe Rogan on Spotify. It's like, it didn't really probably. It's probably just artificially inflated there. And I think the other thing would be to like take allow people who know what they're doing to do what they do. Like when it comes to some of the business stuff, like I can conceptualize why certain things aren't working, but am I good at the nitty-gritty of business? Not really. Not really. But there are other people who are better at that. And so it's like I would love to be able at some point to hand some of that off to people or editing, hand that off to somebody so I can focus more on like the main channel things. And it's going to be something where we'll see where that happens. Actually, probably will hopefully at some point hire someone for like more of the fashion channel because some of those things I can film in advance and somebody else can edit them for me. I mean, they're shorter to edit than these videos. The problem with these videos is that they have to be out really quickly because the news story breaks and the news moves on. If you don't get the stuff out quickly enough, you might lose. Like that's why I got my video on Meghan. That's why I pushed back my movie time on Wednesday because I'm like, well, if I get this video out quickly, it's going to be about 20 minutes. If I get this out now, it'll go and it'll be successful. So again, all those things to think about. But yeah, she really needs to, my suggestion to her would be, what is your actual passion? How can we turn that passion into a career? And be honest with me about your passion. Stop saying it's philanthropy. We know it's not. Stop saying it's about, cooking and hosting and everything. We know it's not. If you want to talk about how much you love designer jewelry, then do that. Do that. That at least I believe you're actually passionate about. Do something else. So we have a Siba. Thank you so much for the tip. I have Netflix to watch The Bridgertons, The Queen, The Empress. Never have they recommended Harry and Meghan. Thank goodness. Good for you, Siba. I'm very, very excited for you. They really haven't recommended it to me. Honestly, it's not like I like documentaries, but it's not really my general style of documentaries. Like I haven't watched The Beckhams, and I've heard it's very good. Just because I don't really care that much about the Beckhams, to be quite honest. But I love true crime documentaries. I love like historical ones. I want to watch the Churchill one. I want to watch the Churchill one. Denial is a deep river says she didn't sell enough jams, so now she has to work off her debts to the orchard a few miles down the road. Yeah, it's just the whole orchard part of it. Like, again, when it comes to branding and creating a brand, we need to know why it is American Riviera Orchard. Why that phraseology? Because I have Royal News Network, which tells you everything about this channel. It's about royals, it's about news, and it's going to be a network. It tells you everything. I have no clue what American Riviera Orchard stands for, why she named it that, what's the purpose, what's the drive. Ugh. And again, if her first product was going to be rosé wine and she's named her company American Riviera Orchard, I'm like, grapes aren't grown in an orchard, right? Oh, man. SEJ says it was just more narcissistic gaslighting, lying about her not being able to wear color, just literally not even when she had to spend time drumming up that she flat out lied about it just to do it. Yeah. So she definitely, the whole color thing is definitely an absolute lie. A. Bertasso says, love royalty, love history. It was one of my undergraduate degrees in love royal fashion and jewels. So your content is a dream combo. Know you know your audience. You do it brilliantly and genuinely. Why, thank you. Why, thank you. Yes. And that's the thing. You have to know your audience. And I just don't, I could kind of see where Harry's audience would be for polo, like general sports fans, but I don't know who Meghan Markle's audience would be. Like you could say homemakers, but like I would imagine the stuff she's showing would not appeal to most women. Anyway, Skippy and D Mouse says, I heard American Riviera Orchard had patent problems because Harry and David have Royal Riviera pears patent and it was confusing, so they got denied the patent. So it was actually the trademark. A patent is for so for example, Starbucks has to patent the design of this particular cup. So you have to patent a particular design. I'm just curious if it says on there patent or anything, but generally you have to patent a particular design like this. Not maybe the design of Salzburg details, but the design of the cup itself. Generally, you would have to patent because otherwise other people could copy it. We have AJ became a YouTube member. Thank you so much, AJ. You are so kind. Linda says, how about a new show called Gone Grifting? True. True. Diane says, Brittany, you have already set up your Crown Report channel. When will you be posting that on? So hopefully soon, probably next week. The whole Meghan drop thing kind of disrupted me. So hopefully next week, because I will be pulling out, again, the small bits from the Crown Report. So like, the main stories, because I'm limited to 100 characters in a title. So even if I'm talking about something later in the video that I think people would be interested in, you want to be able to see it because I have to take it up with the beginning part. And it's like, King Charles or Catherine, the Princess of Wales or Princess Catherine or whatever. It takes up a lot of space. And so you're limited in the amount of space. And so it's a way to get other aspects of the video out there that other people may not be able to see initially. So Veronica Trejo says Jennifer Garner's cooking tips are cute. Love how she just looks natural with no makeup and wet hair. I like her workout clips too. Yeah, she comes across to me as very normal. Very normal. She lives an exceptional lifestyle, but she hasn't lost that common touch. I feel like Meghan, I don't know if she's ever had the common touch. And Mon P says their Netflix contract expires in April, right? They'll probably need time for the 8 episodes to come out weekly. So I'm thinking that's why they're launching it now in January. So Netflix drops everything at once. We have not seen them go to a weekly format yet. There have been suggestions I've seen from people to say the Netflix should actually probably adjust and move to a more weekly style because they drop everything all at once. So they do get the viewership numbers up, but the show sort of lacks the zeitgeist that it could have if they sort of had a long reveal for it. So we shall see. But yeah, no, they will drop it all at once. So it'll be one and done in January. Irina says, do you think Meghan is done with her mother? We haven't seen Dory in a while. I don't think so. As long as her mom's, and I think her mom's in on the grift. As long as they're grifting together, they'll stay together, in my opinion. Creative Chaosify says, Brittany, do you think Meghan will talk about the RF on her show? Do you think she'll take some hidden jabs at them? I would not be surprised. I would not suggest that for her, but I would not be surprised. BD Trend says, Brittany, what do the royal jewelry vaults look like? I'm imagining museums. Maxima found jewelry behind a door. What? So that was Sylvia who found the jewelry behind the door. I don't know exactly how it works. And it's something for security reasons. They don't tell us how it works. And I'm okay with that. Would I love to know how it works? Yes. Would I love to go into the vault and look at everything? Yes. But I understand why they need to keep some of the aspects of it a little quiet. And I respect that. Now, what I will say though is that the cases that they come in are actually not that impressive. You would think of like rhinestone encrusted cases. No. They like if you would look at them and you would not know what it is, or you wouldn't see like the crest from the jewelry company or something, you'd think it would just be an old box with not much. Like it looks nice. It has sort of like cloth around it and stuff. So, but you would also not look at it necessarily and go, oh, there's a tiara worth six figures in there. Sorry, I was thinking the 3 figures past the comma. So, anyways, yeah. SCJ says, how can someone have absolutely no personality or anything about them be comical? That's true. She almost has to play into herself. And she can't do that. She can't do that. Crystal says, what happened to Lemonada? No idea. So I don't even know if that deal is still going on. My understanding is that they're trying to sell the company. I don't know where Meghan stands in that. Like the Daily Mail's reporting that they made like $200 million. And I'm like, I really don't think so. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I don't really know the figures, but it's like, I really don't think they made that much. And they say the Lemonada deal in particular made like $2 million. And I'm like, really? Seriously? I don't think it made that much because the whole Lemonada deal is predicated on her selling ads for her show, which she did relaunch on Apple iTunes. There probably were commercials then. Maybe I haven't actually listened to it because I had to listen to her podcast the first time and it was awful. And so I didn't listen to it the second time. So if she did have ad breaks and played ads, they could make some money from that. But it's like, oh, it's a one and done thing again. It's dead. Came out earlier this year and it's gone. Like, what? What are we supposed to get? So she has nothing new coming out, meaning that she has nothing new to add to it. So, anyways. All right. We have a Monique Kala gifted 5 Real News Network memberships. Why, thank you so much, Monique. I hope people really enjoy that. Crystal asks as well, what about Meet Me by the Lake? I mean lake. Yeah. No, meet me at by the fake. I got it. I got you now. No idea what is happening with that. Again, Netflix is the one who owns the book rights, not Harry and Meghan, Netflix. So Netflix can pull it from them, and I imagine they have. Because if that thing was in production, we would have heard about it because you would like have to let like people figure out those kind of things. You can't just keep that quiet if you're casting and stuff. They're clearly not making any movement on it, in my opinion. Shadish says, just FYI, I've been giving Witters hot chocolate gift sets for a couple years and they arrive in US quickly, nicely arranged and suitable for just wrapping and putting under the tree. Yes, I agree with that. They come, they're great. So yeah. Starchild Jess says Netflix signed the $100 million deal 5 years ago and permit to the location where films came out. They spent 2 months working on the show. This is her second half. Yeah. So I mean, it could be interesting too that there might be two halves to this. We haven't heard that officially. That might be something they are keeping quiet, but it's for me at least when it comes to their Netflix series. Like if their deal doesn't expire, let's say until December of 2025, the Netflix has enough time to make her do another series of it because it's cheap and easy to produce. Elle says, could Charles step in and take custody of the 6 kids if it came down to it? No. Like, I don't know why people like there's some sort of stipulation regarding custody. Charles would never exercise it. It's that's not going to happen. Nika says, how many followers does her Instagram account have now? We can look real quick here. So I see, sorry, like which button is her Netflix account? It has 1.3 million. Now, Instagram, I will say, has like not that she's not going to gain a big following. She is. Like that's obvious. But and it will be mixed of people. It'll be sycophantic fans, it'll be journalists, it'll be hate watchers, like there'll be a variety of people. So it's not like this is an indication on the level of support that she has. It's just not. But Instagram is sort of known for having a high probability of bots. So I would not be surprised if there is a certain section of this that are simply bots that she is paid for. Instagram is well known for this. It's one of the bigger issues that they have. Now, when it comes to me and Royal News Network, it's kind of funny because somebody accused me of having bots. I don't even know how to buy bots. But I wouldn't even do that if I knew how to do it because especially when it comes to YouTube, YouTube is very organic. That's a great thing about YouTube, which is why YouTube you can make so much more advertising and stuff like that is because it's pretty much organic. Like why would you even pay? That's just stupid to pay people to watch it or something. That's just dumb. Or bots to watch it. I don't know. I don't even know how to do any of that. But YouTube is considered one of the more authentic platforms because you do actually like most of the time, like 99% of the time. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't really know. But I would say there's a high probability all the time that it's just organic people who are on the platform subscribing. There's not really a bot issue here as much as there is on other channels. Yes, there are bots because I do see them from like, I don't know, like they're like X-rated or something. I don't know. I don't get it. They're like weird. Anyways. I see them when my videos first pop up. They're like some of the first comments. I'm like, why are you guys here? I don't get it. But those are the rare things. But yeah, I don't know how to buy bots. Who would do that anyways? That's weird to me. Claude says, why would I want to watch a jobless sociopath gaslight my mind with its stupid crap and its attempt to steal my money and screw my head with lying word salad? I do not know. I do not know. Creative Chaosify says, Meghan and her friends reminds me of Teenage Mean Girls. As a mentally healthy adult, I just can't relate. I agree with that. Meghan really does strike me as somebody who's not only has she never left high school, but she strikes me as somebody who's extremely insecure. Babette says, I sometimes see a pic of Abigail Spencer and think it's Meghan. They look so much alike. A little creepy. Yeah. And they're all, so this is from Babette. They are all narcissists. And so they blow smoke up each other's butts because that's how they are friends. Yeah. Water says, when do you think Prince George will start going to patronages with his parents to learn them? Also, do you think all 3 kids will serve in the military? So I don't know about the military. I feel like William has to be careful here because he has said like he doesn't want his kids to be forced to join the military or join the Church of England. I'm like, but that's kind of their life. They kind of got to do that. So I really feel like for George, it's important that he serves in the military, because if Princess Leonor of Spain is serving in the military, George can serve in the military, because I doubt that's what Leonor wanted to do. But she's the future queen of Spain. She's the future head of the armed forces. That's kind of what you have to do. There are things in life that you kind of sort of have to do from time to time. George seems to enjoy military helicopters and everything. So I think it's something that he would really enjoy. And I think, again, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, because William had a very different introduction to royal duties than, let's say, Leonor, Amalia, Elizabeth, Ingrid Alexandra, Estelle in Sweden. William was very much in the background. Part of this had to do with his mother's death, very much in the background, had a very slow walk into royal duties. Whereas some of them that we've seen in other countries are teenagers basically taking on royal patronages, royal duties, and like going on foreign visits. And so in that respect, I feel like in some ways, William, it'll be interesting to see if he is living sort of in the past of what he experienced and not understanding that his children are not going to have the same situation. And I think that's going to be tough for him, because I really feel like he wants them to have sort of a different, he wants them to have his experience, but the reality is he didn't really have his experience. His experience was a one-time sort of unique thing. And because of that, he was allowed to have this very slow introduction to royalty that most of his peers do not have. Like Estelle has been doing royal engagements since she was a toddler in Sweden. So she has been going on patronages with her parents for a long time. George, I just don't know. Obviously, with Catherine's cancer situation, that adds an additional challenge to the family that, is similar somewhat to the death of Diana in some ways. So we may see him be further sequestered from the press for a long time until he's an adult, basically. But I think the Brits, especially because their roster has been so depleted, especially once the Gloucesters retire, the Duke of Kent retires and everything, their roster is going to be so depleted that the kids will have to be working royals. I don't know if they'll all join the military, but they will have to be working royals. I just don't think there's any way around it. Otherwise, it's just going to be William and Catherine, George and his wife, and that's it. And you need somebody to be like Princess Anne and do all those smaller engagements. You need somebody to do that. You can't just do the big things. And so that's the balance that's going to have to be achieved at some point. So anyways, Jenna DC asked, question, when will Harry wake up? Blame him for thrusting Meghan into the spotlight. Now he is her spare. Yeah, I don't know when he'll wake up. My thought has always been is that at some point, especially let's say if his father dies suddenly and he never reconciled with his dad, and he already lost his grandparents without really reconciling with them, and like if things continue to go badly for them and they lose money and they're starting to struggle financially and all these sorts of things, and the pressure builds and builds and builds and builds, I think he'll come to resent her. I think the contempt has somewhat settled in for them. I think they've found over the while that they are less like maybe than they thought, and that she is worried. Like you've seen her a couple of times, worried that something stupid is going to come out of his mouth. She looks at him as she's like, "Oh Lord, he's opened his mouth. What is he going to say?" And it's like, well, you married him. You knew. Like part of the appeal was that he wasn't that bright. That was part of her appeal to him. That was part of his appeal to her, is that he was easily manipulatable. And so I think at some point it'll come down to he will resent her. She will resent him at some point, maybe. I think the money issue may drive a big wedge between them. If he starts losing his court cases and has to pay a whole boatload of money about them, that might become a problem. So yeah, I think he'll wake up at some point, but it'll take a while. So guys, we'll answer one last question here. Elle says, do you think Meghan will pull a last minute stunt and stay relevant by reconnecting with her family? I don't think so. I don't think she likes any of them. And if she wanted to do that, she could have done that at this point, and she hasn't. So I don't think that's something she's particularly interested in. And so guys, I'm so sorry I didn't get to everybody's comments today. Tried to get to as many as I could, but oh my gosh, I'm like scrolling down and I feel so bad now. We have so many, there's just so many here. And so anyways, guys, Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. We will be doing this next week. So if you have questions I didn't answer this week, come next week. We will try to get there. Maybe we'll try to do something in between to sort of get people to get those questions answered that they have, but keep them in mind for a future live stream, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you guys again very, very soon. Have a wonderful and happy Saturday. So bye.